Welcome to the OFX podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Duonamic, providers of incredible doorway pull-up things that are very difficult to pronounce, but really easy to use. Like I said, I'm Dave Claxton. Along with me is our trail trotting titan, Bethany McChesney, coming off gigantic trail racing victory.
Okay.
Yeah, it was huge. There were many legends.
And all the legends.
In all seriousness, though, second competition back. How are you feeling, right? Because these are kind of like, foot in the water again. Well, I guess RX1's not really a foot in the water, but
yeah. The trail race was really just to get my legs back racing on more technical terrain. And I don't train very much on technical terrain here in the small town of Strathroy. There's not even really hills. So I needed to just kind of get out and test the legs there a bit. And I felt really good. Some of the frustrations, I suppose, with this race were just the amount of people. It was a multi-loop on a 7-kilometer loop. You could do 1, 2, or 3 loops, and it felt like everybody that day was on the trails when I was. So it was in a single track and you're just constantly moving around people. So it was kind of difficult to really open up and run all out, but I still had a blast. And then there were some people that didn't listen to the no earbuds rule. So when you're coming up behind people and you're saying on your left, and then some people aren't hearing you and you're like, oh man, they have earphones in, and then you kind of have to shoulder them on the way by. And then there's the awkward, oh, I'm sorry. And just don't wear earphones on the trails. Just enjoy being out in nature.
Yeah, I don't follow you. Have you seen those things? And I was in Best Buy with my son the other day, and they've got they're not earbuds. They kind of go over your ear, and the speaker's like on the bone right there.
Yeah, they rest on the temple. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like, I tried it out, and I was like, this is really good because I could still hear him talk, mm-hmm. and hear the music and stuff. And personally, I hate things in my ears. It drives me nuts. Mm-hmm. So I'm dying to try a set of those. I think it'd be great.
I've actually heard really good things about them. And then because you can also still hear what's going on around you, and the sound quality is still fantastic.
Did I ever tell you about my buddy Ryan Folletti? Mm-mm. This is a scary story. So he's a bit of a marathon runner, right? Good guy. And he was out running just in town, running along, and he had his earbuds in, and he's running across the intersection with the light, all perfectly legit. And a car ran the light and just smoked him. Tons of damage, surgeries, the whole deal. And I'm like, that's just the scary part of running with earbuds. And I mean, he was totally not at fault, right? Like the driver ran the red light. He's the guy that screwed up, but Ryan is still the guy that had to eat it. And just crazy. Good news is he's back. He's running. He's all good. But it was really scary. He was banged up pretty bad. He could have easily died on that one. So maybe.
Well, and sometimes it happens so fast, whether you had earphones in or not.
He had no memory from crossing the intersection to being in the hospital.
Yeah. Wow.
Which probably is a good thing.
Yeah. So did I tell you I was hit by a car once doing the same thing, but I was on a bike, no earphones or anything. And it was someone that was turning left and just didn't look. And I have no memory of the actual accident, and I came to in the back of someone's car when they were driving me to the hospital.
I was going to say that almost sounds like a scarier story. You came to is like the back of a big white panel van or anything like that. Skittles written on the side of it. That's scary. Yeah. So, but how bad were you hurt on that one?
I wasn't actually, there were some significant scrapes. My bike was in 2 pieces. I'm probably super fortunate. I chipped some bones in my chin and did some damage to my jaw tendons. Because I think I went over my handlebars because my handles were in my hands, but the bike wasn't attached to my handlebars. And then just some good road rash other than that. So I think I walked away pretty fortunate.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
See? Run on a treadmill. It's less dangerous.
I was biking to work.
So work on your treadmill. It's less dangerous. commute in a car.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah. Just
probably on your
accidents
bike, yeah,
happen.
coffee in one hand and your phone in the other. And
This was before I owned a vehicle, Dave.
oh, okay. I don't think there was ever a time before I owned a vehicle.
Oh, not me.
Yeah. So anyway, so how's everything going? Because you are recovering, right? This is all back in. So you've done 2 competitions. How's everything feeling?
Yeah, really good actually. I feel like my body and my ankle turned a corner about a month ago because there was still a lot of tension. And some of it I know was probably injury PTSD, having pain there for 2 years. But I was able to start doing speed work and tempos and hill runs, and everything was feeling fine. So yeah, I was still super nervous, and I made a post about it too in the first competition in RX1, just the flat, fast road stuff. And how it would feel. And it felt totally fine. And then the trails, the up and down and the more technical stuff, again, it feels good. So it's just, I think it's just a testament to the rehab that I went through and the thousands and thousands of eccentric calf work that I did to strengthen the tendon, because it's so far it's been fine. So it does give me a bit more confidence going into this weekend. Obviously the train will be more technical, but at least I'm not nervous like I was 2 weeks ago about my ankle holding up.
And this weekend's obviously Spartan Burmacombe, not a series race or anything like that. Just are you doing both super and sprint?
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah.
And good race on a local ski hill, not super high elevation.
Yeah.
So it should be pretty good. I don't remember it being super technical terrain though. I mean, it's almost like that classic Canadian Spartan where you're up and down the ski slopes.
Yeah, it's not technical at all, but when I did the super there the last time, 2019, it was up and down constantly, and it was really just tall grass.
Yeah, that's how I remember it too.
Yeah,
like I say, that seems to be the Canadian race. They just send us up and down ski hills.
Yeah, that was very much that. So not a lot of super runnable parts. It is a lot of up and down. So yeah, that's kind of what you expect when we have these smaller mountains and they're trying to fill 10K in a small space.
It's been pretty consistent. They've been there quite a few times though. It's a good little venue. Like it works out. I mean, it's not Blue Mountain, it's not Tahoe, it's not those, but it's a good little venue. They put on a nice festival area.
Yeah.
It's not too bad to get to from the city. So I mean, for you it is, but for people who live in the city, it's not too bad.
Yeah. And Brimacombe was my first Spartan.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think mine was Mount St. Louis or somewhere out there.
Oh, I don't know that one.
I can't remember. No, well, Mount St. Louis, no, that was Tough Mudder, but my first Spartan was somewhere out there again. 2013. I have no idea where they had them. So it was the only time I had a Spartan white shirt.
Oh, white.
White Spartan shirt. Actually, I really liked that one, but I have no idea what happened to it. I think
it's not white anymore, I'm sure.
No, probably not. So that's good. We don't know a ton about your competition because we don't know a lot of the elites that are going to this one. So it's going to be a bit of a surprise. I know your goal is the same no matter who's there anyway, right?
Yeah, it is. The thing too with racing in Canada right now is we've kind of had 2 years where we haven't really seen people. We had 2 races, but they weren't super attended. Blue Mountain was a bit more, but this weekend though, there's going to be girls that I just haven't seen really in 2 years. So you don't know what kind of work people have put in, and new people come onto the scene all the time. So nothing's ever a sure thing. So you still have to race it.
And from our Team OFX perspective, we have yourself making your Spartan debut this year, and Brendan Neely as well making his Spartan debut. Expecting good things from both of you, but I do believe Brendan will have to deal with the illustrious Jesse Bruce, and that is never an easy task.
No, and I think Jesse's fit right now with all of this triathlon stuff too.
I don't think Jesse's ever not fit.
Yeah, you're right.
Jesse's, I think, resting heart rate is about 170 beats a minute, just from his sheer excitement level. He's constantly on the go. He never stops.
Yeah.
So anyway, best of luck to everybody going. I sadly will not be making it because I have a real job and real jobs suck. and they picked the one weekend that I have to work overtime, and I can't make it, and I'm really ticked off. But it is what it is. Life.
Real jobs do suck, Dave.
I'm just going to go ahead
and
and
say, fake job.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say I would have won, and yeah. So I just send me my medal. I think it's reasonable. Stuff going on. We do have an interview coming up with Alyssa Hawley. Fantastic. Can't wait to bring that to you. But some stuff that's going on as well. Do you remember the last Deca Fit? There was a guy from the second round that ended up podium. He ended up in second place. So he made his Hyrox debut.
Okay.
And again, I cannot say his name, and I'm afraid to even attempt it because it'll come out like I'm making fun of him. But it is spelled Anass.
Anassa.
Awesome. There you go. We'll go with that. So he made his Hyrox debut, and he put in a 113, which I think was a little less than not as quick as I expected. I don't know about you, but apparently the sleds in LA were deadly.
Oh, okay. Did you look at his sled times?
Yeah, his sled times were. He came out flying too. His first 1K was sub 3 minutes.
Wow. Well, so this guy has a sub 4 minute mile time, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm gonna read to you here. I got his stuff right here. So his first run was 2:59. Then a 3:29 on the ski erg. 3:29 on his second run, and then 6:41 on the sled push.
Okay, yeah.
Then back to a 3:53, and then a 10:03 on the sled pull.
Oh, that's the time right there.
Yeah, so those ones ate him up pretty bad, and his wall balls were 6:51, which is not really top notch either.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he I haven't had a chance to talk to him personally, but through third party. He has said that he was very surprised by those sleds, how tough they were, but he is not giving up, and he will be back, and he's really, really diving into the hybrid racing, and I really hope to talk to him soon. So he's definitely on my radar to try to get an interview with, and just try to see another guy in there, because that kind of speed and that kind of potential.
Right. And he looks like a strong guy. So I mean, he maybe have also found his niche. He just kind of has to sort this out a little bit with the sleds and the heavier stuff.
Yeah, well, Jack Bauer is convinced that this guy's going to be the real deal.
Yeah.
And if Jack's convinced, I trust Jack on this one. I'm pretty convinced. Also, congrats to Chris Woolley and Haley Brogan for their wins at Hyrox LA. It was good for them. Chris Woolley, his time actually points out something that we've been saying forever on the sleds. In London, he was like a 3 and change. And then in LA, he was over 6 minutes.
Wow. So almost double.
Almost double. So just, it does show you. And then from what I hear, they are bringing those same sleds to Vegas. So that'll be interesting. The other thing that had happened, and this actually is something that you should be very concerned with. Maddie Jones did a sub 13 for the Deca Strong.
That's fast. So does that put her into the leading spot, or does Sam Briggs still have it?
Well, no. So that for this year, that puts her into the leading spot. And I believe that is the best all time. I'll have to double check that, but I think that's the best all time.
Wow.
If she's sitting there, and it's definitely sitting in that number 1 seed for this year in Atlantic City, which I'm very excited about. I think is going to be absolutely fabulous. And I'm going qualify or not. I do have one more shot to qualify. Well, I have 2 shots, right? 3 shots to qualify, technically. I'm doing one more of each. I got a Deca Fit, a Deca Strong, and a Deca Mile, all coming up. So 3 shots to qualify for age group, obviously. And yeah, hopefully as well. And you have your Deca Fit shot. Are you gonna make any Deca Strongs or anything in time to go there?
I don't know. I haven't really planned if that's gonna work out. So many things on my schedule still. I have to work it all out. But Deca Fit for sure.
It's crazy. I've already started dropping stuff. Like Brimacombe. Unintentionally. One more thing I wanted to put out there before we go on is, did you see the 400-meter OCR Leon ran?
I did. And it looked exactly like everything you've ever dreamed of.
It is. And I was thinking, because everybody's been talking about, OCR going to the Olympics with the pentathlon. And from what I hear, it's not even like OCR. It might be like, kiddie playland in the backyard, which would be very sad to even call it OCR. What Leon did is what OCR in the Olympics should be.
Yes.
It looked awesome. And I talked to him a little bit, and he's like, it was amazing. And that was at the Czech OCR championship. So I'm still looking for some good video of the whole thing. But that just in the bits and pieces I saw, 400-meter course, some really cool obstacles, great flow to it.
Yeah. And there was the obstacles were also very different. Like he had the low rigs, he had over the logs, like it wasn't just a whole bunch of Ninja Warrior type rigs. They were all very different.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be, right? In 400 meters, I don't know how many obstacles you want to put in there, 10, whatever obstacles, that's one every 40 meters, which is tons.
Yeah.
So even less than that, but you want like that variety where you get like, some can just be a balance, some can be a quick strength, some can be, very technical, low, high, whatever. Yeah. You really can mix it up and make a very exciting race. And I would die to see something like that coming up.
I know. Yeah, it looks super exciting.
But I think I got a better chance of just going there.
You're right.
Unless we build it. And if we build it, maybe then. So the problem is with that, and this reality is, how do you make money at it? How do you make enough money to justify holding it? Because that's expensive to build that and to put that on. I mean, Platinum Rig did it, right? Yeah. I have that video of me on that one. It was probably more of a 200-meter course, but you could easily stretch that out around a 400-meter track.
Yeah.
But you can't filter enough people through that to make good money. At least I don't think it'd be really hard to do. And you can't charge a super amount for it because it's over so quick.
Right.
So therein lies the problem. And that's where I thought Spartan Cross would work, because you could set that up along with your regular thing, do that Friday night, charge just $20-$30 to go through. And then, but hey, Spartan won't. So when are we going to check?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, tomorrow.
For a 400-meter OCR.
Yeah. Like it's a bad idea. It's a good idea. Awesome. All right, well, that's enough of us. Without any further ado, we're going to bring in Alyssa Hawley.
Sure. So, Alyssa, you posted a pretty significant post on the past weekend about your focus this season moving away from Spartan. And this is a big deal. You were part of the Fad 5. You really helped to bring up the OCR scene for women. And you're going to shift your focus this year. And the reasons you stated make a lot of sense. And I think people can really empathize with those reasons, but just kind of walk us through that decision making.
Yeah. So like I mentioned in the post, moving away from Spartan, and I've known for a long time, it was just kind of, I don't know, I just didn't really feel if I needed to announce it or not necessarily. I'm like, it's just, Spartan just seems so far away already at this point for me that, I don't know, it's just changed so much, I guess, that I just felt like I was already out of it for a while. But yeah, so I was thinking about it a lot, like right around the time we got our contracts this year. And well, back up first, when they announced the series. So the series was like they moved into Mexico, right, and Canada, and then they had the 3 races in the US. And I loved that idea. I thought that was cool. I was like, I'd love to go and do those. But then I noticed like all of the, sorry, my phone just fell over. But then I noticed, yeah, all of the races are pretty much at elevation, and all of them are, it's a big travel distance, and I would love to do that, but it's a lot harder for me to get away these days. But, so where I'm at fitness wise right now and where I live and with my job, I was like, training for these kind of mountain races at elevation does not make a lot of sense for me. It would take a lot more time to train than these hybrid races do, because I work and basically live at the gym. And then, so as much as I kind of wanted to really, really hang on to that part of me, that Spartan part of me, that's been a part of me for like the last 6 years, I was just like, it's just not realistic. And then they released the contracts, and I made it to tier 3 because It was based all on 2021 races. And I only raced the 3 local races. So Montana, Seattle, and Portland for me last year. And so I didn't really, I don't know, I didn't get enough points to get up anywhere on the tiers. So plus financially, right? Like not being able to be supported to go in these races, like that was just kind of it for me. I was like, all these factors combined together. Yeah, it just didn't make sense. And so I kind of had this whole like mourning period over the winter. Like now I'm cool, but like it was really hard. Like that's all I own is Spartan clothes pretty much. And that's all I see like all around, like my garage is decorated. So yeah, long story to finish off is, yeah, I've known for a little while.
You know, it so much echoes a lot what would you say with the
I'm really sorry.
That's okay. So much echoes a lot with Faye Stenning said. Like Faye Stenning was the same thing about her training, right? She's in New York. She can't get to the mountains all the time to do the training, the trail running. You just can't keep up with the people who live in Colorado and stuff like that. And
yeah,
I mean, I totally get what you're saying about the identity deal. Like you were a Spartan racer. That was like your identity. I mean, I can't go to the same level as you, obviously, but I remember when I stopped playing goaltending, when I stopped being a goalie for hockey, and I was like, forever, I'm a goalie. And now I'm like, I'm not a goalie anymore. I have to be something else. And it's so silly. It seems so strange, but it's that little bit of identity that goes away.
You hit the nail on the head. I didn't actually use that word in my poster just now, but that's exactly what I've been struggling with, is the identity behind that. And like, well, what kind of athlete or who am I without that? And it's kind of, taken me these last couple months to really reflect on that and try to, move on from that, I guess, in a way.
But do you find with the rise of these hybrid races, though, that's given you that new outlet and a new identity that you can now say, well, I'm a hybrid racer, and that almost like it slides you into a new identity? And obviously you're very successful at Hyrox. So did it kind of take this thing away a bit?
100%. Because, and I was thinking about this too, like I did my first Hyrox back in winter of 2019 or 2020. Yeah. Yeah, one of the two, sorry. Anyways, so I've kind of was already starting that transition as it was. I think had I just been getting into it, like right when I kind of decided with the whole Spartan thing, I think it would have been a lot harder because I wouldn't have known if I would have been able like to be successful at that. So that has helped a lot to kind of have that like kind of overlap of transition, if you will.
Yeah, and plus you get a new wardrobe.
And what?
Clothes. You get new wardrobe. You get new clothes.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Replace all your Spartan.
Not as much for free, but that's okay.
Do you think Spartan's going in like a? I know it's going a different direction for you, right? So it's going away from a direction you want to go. Do you think they're going in a smart direction overall?
Yeah, I gotta be careful with how I say this, I guess.
No, you're out of the Spartan loop anymore. You can bash them all you like.
I know, but I really don't have any bitterness towards Spartan. I don't feel like they owe me anything at all. Like those were seriously will go down as some of the best years in my life. And I'm so grateful for all the opportunities. Like I got to go travel internationally and be like you said, a part of the Fab Five, but like at the same time, me and my wife were talking, and my dad too. We were talking about it back in like the 2017 era. Like that was my best year, kind of 2018, maybe kind of, I felt like it was at the height of Spartan. And we were talking about how they kind of seemed like they're at this crossroad where they either need to go down the path of catering to the elites and making this like a big deal Olympic type thing, right? Or they were going to have to cater more towards the like open racers and just the general people who they want to come like rip off the couch, right? And it kind of seems to me that they've been going more towards the open racing scene, which and right, they've like expanded a lot since then too. Like then DECA came around and all the like just whatever, like all this kind of things they have now. So I don't know, like I think they're trying to do too much in a way. Like maybe they're trying to they're not being able to focus on one thing enough, like one common goal. It's kind of let's try to do everything. And I think that's kind of taken away from the magic of a little bit and just kind of, yeah, like, I don't know. It kind of like took away from the competition a little bit too, in my eyes, because everything kind of got watered down as far as like an elite racer goes. And it's hard to say that because they still are on like really rough terrain, right? Like those mountain courses are no joke or anything, but we really haven't seen many new obstacles. The obstacles don't really challenge any of the elite racers anymore. And that was a big thing for me, was that was how I was really good, is because I wasn't really a runner and I was able to crush all the obstacles, and that kind of balanced out with the big runners I was going against. So with that being kind of a non-factor, in a way, and again, this is just my personal opinion, I've just kind of felt like it's, again, just more been geared towards the open racer. And I don't know, I just don't, I don't know that it's working. It seems to me it's kind of on a downfall, but that's just kind of how I see it. So I don't really know.
You ever, when you say, and I do, like I said, remember what racing, the obstacles and some of the strength stuff really being a strong suit for you. Is that like, I assume you'll probably jump in a race here or there, right? I imagine that'll happen. Yeah. But I guess geographically would probably permit it. But would you ever think of something like chasing like the Savage Series, where the obstacles are a little more challenging and might play to your strengths a bit more?
If Savage comes to the West Coast, they're like all the ones I looked at, and I could be wrong, but they're kind of all like Texas, East Coast kind of area. So travel wise, it's a lot harder for me to get to make sense, right? If I'd have to win it to be able to come out on, on top or something. So I have to be, again, just kind of like I said in my post, I just kind of be smarter about the ones I do this year. So I would love to, though, for sure.
I think one of Spartan's biggest problems, and I'll say it straight out, I think they have too many damn races.
Yeah, I feel like that too. It's almost confusing to go on their website now or explain like what it really is. I'm like, well, you can kind of do a lot of different things, and we could talk about this for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Like, well, I see my wife's from Alabama, and she said there used to be like a race every other weekend within driving distance. And whereas we up here, we get 6 a year?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Across the whole country.
Yeah. And you guys are in Canada, but where at?
The Toronto area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we get like 6 a year all across the whole country. And so they become a little more important. And I think Spartan, I do believe their attendance has dropped down. And I think it's due to just too many races.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I was somebody posted a video of the elite. I don't know which race it was in Montana this last weekend, but I think I counted 7 girls total. And
the one Casey Monroe won.
Yes, that's what I saw.
People kept saying, "Where is everybody?"
I know, and I could show you an identical picture of that same start line, and I think it was 2019. I could be wrong, but it was just that whole line of field of girls right in the start line. And I noticed this too in Seattle. In Portland's a smaller race, but even in Seattle, like that one's always usually a really big turnout. And I think there were 5 of us at the start line of the sprint. Like it was a joke.
Wow.
So I don't know. Granted, it was like not a big race, but still, I mean, I've never seen that in years past. So.
Well, and I think part of the problem too is this year with the new series, there's such a big focus on age group. So now there's no incentive to move up to that elite race. So everyone's staying in age group.
Somebody said that was going to happen. Who the hell was? Oh yeah, me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Oh, and then I didn't mention this too really, but there was a lot of local prize money cuts too, and that was really disappointing for me to see. I didn't mention this in the post, but that was a big deal for me because that's literally how I got my start. I was able to go to some local races, and I went to Portland. Was my first one, like a real Spartan race. My first one was a stadium. And then, so I went to Portland, and then I went to Seattle, and I won Seattle, was able to get some money, flew down to Sacramento. I took second in both of those, won a little more money, flew down to California, and that race put me on the map. So like, you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of sucks that it seems to be maybe favoring this, like, I don't know. I don't know, the people who are already kind of up there, I guess. It seems harder for somebody to work their way up like I was able to in a way.
Yeah. It's I think that you are right that they are taking away the focus. They've gone to the open. And devil's advocate, from Spartan's perspective, if I'm running a business, I'm going to cater to the open too. I'm going to cater to the age, because that's where my money's coming in. And the elites, well, that's what builds the sport and maybe even the future. For the time being, I'm not making any money off elites, because at best of times it was 10% of my field, and right now it's closer to 5%. The thing that scares me is in the elite fields, we've seen small women's fields quite often, and we were hoping they would grow, and that would be the case. Whether that's happening or not seems to be still up in the air. But the men's fields in a lot of elite ones are getting very small now too, and probably like you say, because the borderline guys are going back to age group because of, and whatever the incentive is. But that's what's scary to me, is that the men's field are dwindling too, and I hope at least they start sending everybody at once so it just looks a little bit better.
Yeah, true. That's true. What was I going to say about that? Oh, back to the business. Yeah, me and my wife are kind of, I guess part of my argument too has been like, yeah, they are a business, and I understand. That's kind of why it's kind of been like, well, if that's what they want to do in their business, then fine. Like, I guess I'll just kind of go do something else.
So Hyrox top 15. Obviously this is big. This is pretty huge. That was not an easy top 15 to crack.
I was honestly pretty shocked. I mean, the times that had been posted, I felt were really fast. And then to see like a couple more of those European races go on, and them filling up those slots, I was like, whoa. So yeah, I've never raced against probably over half these ladies. So I don't know what to expect at this point.
I think, and I mean, I've said this before publicly a couple times, I think a lot of the Europeans are going to be in for a huge shock when they come over and hit the North American sleds. And especially what I've heard, they're taking the ones they just used in LA, and those are the ones going to Vegas. And I don't know if you've looked at some of the sled times in LA, but I mean, take a guy like Chris, I think it was Chris Woolley from Australia. He was a 3-minute-ish, 3:30 sled push in London, and then was over 6 minutes in LA.
Whoa.
So, I mean, I think a lot of the Europeans who have not been over here, and I think the only one that has is Alex Ronkovic, that have not been over here, I think are going to hit that thing like literally a brick wall. So
this is exactly what I'm banking on. I am banking on the fact that those sleds are just the only thing that's gonna save me, for like that was made their times, so much lower. That's what I'm hoping. So if that's the case, then I think I got a good shot.
And then Viola, she's had some North American experience too.
Yeah, that's true. She's definitely one that I've been looking out for sure.
Yeah, Viola is just, I don't think it matters where the course is.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I was like, I don't know that it matters for her. Yeah.
But it is interesting too to see some of your other competition, and I don't want to say they're not going to be great, or they're not going to kill us, or they're not going to kill it, because I have complete faith that they would make me look completely stupid. But both Rachel and Lauren, being pregnant at the time and still going to be running, how does that make you feel? Do you be like, okay, this is a good chance for me to go ahead of them, or is it like, crap, I might get beat by a pregnant woman?
Well, I already did get beat by a pregnant woman. Lauren was already pregnant at
in fairness,
North, so I literally put nothing past her. I think she could be like at her due date in racing, and I think she could still beat us all. Like, she is just so good. So I don't count either of them out. Like, they're just such incredible women. I think, I don't know, maybe it'll fuel their fire even more.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I know I would have to think eventually Lauren has to slow a little bit. Even she said this won't be a PR.
I'll be honest, I
don't believe her, man.
I thought it was a mistake. I thought they were just putting on there because she's Lauren. I'm shocked. I'm shocked to hear she's racing. I'll be honest.
Yeah, so she's 7 months at this race. Yeah.
Dude, if I had found out I was pregnant, I'd be like, see you guys, bye. I'm out for 9 months.
I think at 7 months, my mom was just considering quitting smoking, and
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, props to them.
Could you imagine what those kids got to live up to? Seriously?
Oh yeah. Those are some big shoes to fill.
I think too, so in your training process, then have you completely switched over? Are you really, because you said you're doing Hyrox, are you also going to do DecaFit? Are you going to wander into some of these other things? Maybe a trip to
Deca
one.
A trip to where?
Back and do RX1. We'll tell you all about it.
Oh, heck yeah. We need to get up to Canada again. It's been a minute. So Deca, yeah, it was really hard to kind of figure out what all of their races were at first, because they have a bunch of different Decas. So I finally figured it out. I ended up booking the Anaheim one because it's the closest one to me. It's the weekend after this weekend. So the weekend after Vegas. And I did it because I really don't have anything on the summer after this. I wanted to get at least one DECA in so I can potentially go to their worlds in I think New Jersey in November. And I'm already like, I think it's basically a half a Hyrox. So I figure if I'm already fit, I might as well just go and do it. I don't think I wouldn't really need to put any extra or different training into that. So yeah, those are kind of the big two that I have right now. And then just nothing really other than that planned until probably the fall. So,
and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Beth, but isn't that probably good? Because I think a lot of the Spartan race and OCR races, you just get overloaded with too many races and not enough. Am I onto something there? Not enough recovery?
Yeah. Well, I do find people they race weekend after weekend because there's just so many opportunities. And there's definitely some people who I watch in the Spartan world that I'm like, it's just too much. Like, I don't know how you get, and it's also February to December for a season.
Yeah. I'm basically all my years up to 2019, I basically raced like every month at least. And I some seasons by the time Worlds came around, I was like, this is a lot. Like, I'm just kind of ready to be done. So it is, I'm so looking forward to actually having a break. And it just helped, like, I don't know, just being able to get more specific training blocks in. But at the same time, it kind of almost makes it a little more nerve-wracking. There's just a little bit more extra pressure on every single race because you haven't raced as often either. So there's a little bit of both ends of the spectrum going on.
So going from Vegas, no chance you're going to jump from Vegas and just head down to Big Bear for a hoot?
No, not even close. I will be at the pool all day on Sunday doing absolutely nothing and just enjoying the heck out of it.
That's how you go to Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
So just recently, you were in the Go Ruck Games. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you had a bit of an up and down experience there. So I mean, just walk us through that, because I mean, we heard you were absolutely destroying it.
Yes.
So walk us through it. You started out with the 12 mile.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really wasn't focused on training on it for it at all. I did some things here and there. Like, I definitely wore the ruck pack at least a couple times a week and made sure I, got used to that weight and running with it. And I don't know, I just kind of, again, felt like my Hyrox training would really translate because of the heavy stuff that we have to use and whatnot. But also, like, we didn't know what we were going to do. So I'm not going to waste all this time training for something that might not happen, so I kind of just had to take a chance there. And so, yeah, it started with that 12-mile beach ruck. And man, had I known that was going to be in there, I'm telling you, like, I don't think I would have gone, because I would have been like, I can't train for this enough. Like, I don't know. I just felt like it would probably ruin all my Hyrox training. I thought way too much about it. And I hadn't ran 12 miles maybe since like the fall. So, and that was just, regular easy run. So to run that on the beach and to come out in third was like, whoa, like, I'm doing something right, kind of thing. And then, so that was really surprising. That kind of, gave me some confidence going into the rest of it. And let's see, then we went to the festival area, and we did like that sandbag, like kind of kettlebell swing toss behind you, and then the max pull-ups, and then that 1 mile sandbag run. And we don't know how we did on those. Like, they didn't really ever tell us. And then we did the 100-pound 1 mile sandbag run. And it was just like, out the gate, it was just, oh my gosh, like, this is the longest mile ever. And it was 4 laps there. And I don't know, I just took it out in front, and I was just like, I'm not letting this go. And I ended up taking first in that one. And then, we did the farmer's carry, same concept. I was just like, I'm on a roll now. Like, I'm not letting these things drop. Took first in that one. Overhead's not really my strength, so I didn't do super great on that one. I don't remember if we had one more after that. I don't remember. But yeah, so like, that was the whole day basically. And I was like, just in shock. I was just like, this is my games. I'm gonna win this thing. And then we had the obstacle thing on the morning of Sunday morning, that very next morning. And
where were you sitting before? Because they told you guys where you were sitting before the obstacle, right? Like your position.
right, yeah. So we didn't know by the end of the day. They calculated everything that night. Sunday morning, we all met up. They lined us up in like the top. Well, they lined all of us up, I suppose, like 1 through 40. So yeah, I knew I was first. So I was first out of that going into the obstacle race. In the obstacle race, they put us head to head. Like I think it was like 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4, etc. And it was just based on our time, not who we were going against. So after they calculated up all those times, I was still in first, but then it kind of shuffled around like everybody else. So for example, Chris Glosky was not in the top 8. And then until the obstacle course race, that bumped her up into that top 8 slot, or the 8th spot, I should say. And then, yeah, after that, where they were like, okay, points don't matter now. We're going 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, etc. And then if whoever loses is just eliminated. And yeah, we got on, I think we were the last ones to go, and got up to, so it was monkey bars over this A-frame cargo deal. You had to grab your ruck pack, go under a really low crawl, and then we had ascending weighted sandbags. You had to run down, climb over a wall, grab the next one. And we got on the monkey bars. I felt confident in it regardless. I was like, no matter what happens on the obstacle portion, like I knew she was better than me in that. I was like, I've got the sandbags. Like that's just been my jam all weekend. And as soon as we got on the monkey bars, I just kind of like slipped up. I have monkey bars in my gym, and they're really long apart. It's basically like almost a wingspan. These ones are really close together and a lot more narrow. And so my technique was just really off. I just wasn't really sure how to get through them quickly. And by the time I was like a third of the way in, she was already at the end. And I was just like, oh shit. Okay. It's like, okay, I still got some time to catch back up. But little did I realize how short that event was, that after that, it was like a sprint, right? Like if you miss your spear throw in a sprint, you're basically not coming back. And that's exactly how it was. Like she'd already had such a lead on me at that point that I just wasn't able to come back. And then it was just over, like literally in a blink of an eye. So as much of a high as I was on, right, like over the whole weekend, that was still just like heartbreaking, because I really thought that nothing could stop me after that. So yeah.
So I mean, it's probably an easy question to figure out, but how did you feel about the setup for something like that? Like where they have all that and then they just go to that playoff format. And really, in my mind, the seeding is so bizarre because one event is nothing like the rest of the stuff you do. So it's not like where you have, you play a hockey game over and over and over again. You play the same game, so you have 1 versus 8, and it's very relevant. Whereas this could be, maybe it was you against Katie Knight, bag over the head, where it just, it just seems odd the way that I personally, I liked a lot of the stuff they did, but this was one of the things I didn't like.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I wasn't worried about that at all going in, because I literally thought I was like, I'm going to win this. Like, it doesn't matter. And after reflecting over it, I was like, wait a second. Like, she kind of just got lucky with the event that she put us in. Like, granted, I didn't execute, and I know that. Like, I could have done better in the monkey bars part, but at the same time, right? Like, it did, like you said, it came down to whatever they picked for that, and it wasn't on an equal playing field with everything else that we did necessarily. So yeah, like I hope the next year they change that, because or do an elimination with, like you said, kind of like the same kinds of things or something like that. So yeah, like that, I don't want to say it wasn't like fair, because that was the rules at the time. Like it is what it is, but I do kind of hope they make it a little more even playing field, I suppose, next year. So
yeah, because I mean, the next event where they did the seeding for the top 4 was completely different and might have been a very different scenario, right?
Right, exactly.
So obviously you were not taking part, but how did you feel about the grappling being part of the event? Would you have...
when I first saw it, I was like, oh, well, I'm glad. I was kind of glad in a way, because I was like, I would just probably embarrass myself. I was joking around, like I didn't grow up with brothers, and I was the oldest of 5 sisters. So I was kind of the bully, but like we didn't like wrestle or anything, right? Like that felt like that's just kind of what I feel like brothers do growing up. So I've never really had to do any of that. And I don't know. I literally just think I would have got my ass handed to me. And if anybody has ever watched Broken Skull, I was on that for one of the seasons and immediately got taken out because basically we had to like wrestle and she just like annihilated me. So I would have had no confidence absolutely going into that. But I did, one of the girls I made friends with there, her name's Mac. And me and Corinna had been like talking after everything was all over. And Matt comes over and I was joking and I was like, oh, hey, let's go get in the ring, you know? And so we did. And she's probably like half my size and just totally just takes me out, you know? So I was like, okay, like maybe it was a good thing that I wasn't in that, but I did think it was really cool. I will say, like, it was the funnest thing to watch. Like my heart was just like racing the entire time watching that. So I thought it was a really, really cool twist to end on, but I was really worried someone was going to get hurt.
Yeah, I've gone down that road many times, so I won't beat a dead horse with my opinion on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, did you ever get to sound off on that, Beth? What you thought about the wrestling or the grappling? I hate to say
no, I didn't really speak much about it. I guess I just personally have sort of strong feelings in the direction of I just don't think it belongs in competitions where you're doing all this endurance stuff and fitness stuff, and then you make people do a completely different sport with skills that we don't really train. I just think they're fortunate that nobody got hurt, especially in this one, which is so different than the Spartan games, where the points, you had to take it a lot further than they were giving out points in the Spartan game. So it was hard for me to watch because I just kept thinking, oh, someone's going to get hurt. Yeah. Even watching, because you can choke people out till they tap, and people aren't skilled in knowing when, how many, like even understanding when someone's tapping, like you could take it too far. And I just don't think it belongs. You're basically asking people to do something that, and I mean, if someone is trained and then you're putting them up against someone who isn't, again, you're a very unfair situation, because I mean, it's not really what we're training for here. We're training for hybrid racing.
Yeah.
The one big thing actually that I will say about it is next year, I don't have a problem with them doing it because people can expect it.
Yeah, totally. That's what I was.
Yeah.
My best friend messaged me because I had posted that when me and Mac were wrestling, and she was like, yo, I would slay this. And I said, if this comes back next year, you and I are going to practice. So I will be ready next year if that's there.
Yeah. And like I said, because next year people know what to expect. If you go on and you get surprised by it, well, that's your own fault for not doing your damn research, right? This time I thought it was a mistake, just like Beth said, because you guys went to do rucking and obstacles and hey, grapple to the death. So anyway. So all in all, though, you would go back?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like it was just so much fun. Just the most fun I think I've honestly ever had in a competition. Like I just absolutely loved that we didn't know what was going to come next. And you just had to be like, all right, let's do this. And maybe you had a little bit of time to strategize or something, but it wasn't much. And just, I don't know, just all the different variations of types of events too. I will say I would like to see more of the stuff they did at the end. It would be hard with all the athletes that they had to be able to do that. But the more, I don't want to say like WOD style, but kind of, right?
Like a Metcon.
Yeah, Metcon, thank you. Like I don't know, I was really bummed that I couldn't do that second one. So I would like to see a little bit more of that kind of stuff would be really cool. So
I want to see more weighted rope climbs everywhere.
Yeah, and I even did weighted rope climbs. I was like, "Are you kidding me? I did rope climbs with a ruck pack. I was ready for this."
I saw that in the what was it, the Rogue Invitational or whatever, and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" Just a weighted rope climbs.
Yeah, yep.
So that's something I want to see everywhere. I want to see weighted rope climbs. So
for sure.
So like I said, so Hyrox is the number one focus here. You're going in. I'm gonna like put you on the spot. How ready are you? Can you get a podium? Is this the deal? Because I mean, I think the podium's pretty open here, and I don't know if you watched, but I'll be honest, because you'll see it eventually. I didn't pick you in the top 5. I had you 6th. I'll be honest about it because it's on YouTube and I can't hide it. But otherwise, I tell you, I picked you to win. How do you think you're going to come in?
I am definitely ready to podium. I will say that. Like I said, I'm banking on those European girls like not being able to do the sleds very well. And if that's the case, I think I have a really good shot. My running times are up quite a bit from January. I did basically the same workout I did last January, and my splits were like 20 seconds better in my runs. So I'm feeling like really, really good about it. But we'll see, right? Like, I mean, it's just, everything's just got to come together. And so I don't know, I'm feeling like the podium's in the view. So we'll see.
That's awesome. Beth, you got anything else for Alyssa?
No, I'm super excited to watch you this weekend, Alyssa. So we'll be cheering you on here. And it's at 6 p.m. your time, your race.
How do you know? I haven't even heard yet.
We've heard that's probably when it's going to be, but it's.
Oh, that's rough. I did my training today because, oh, go ahead.
You think it's rough on you? That's going to be like 3 a.m. for the people from overseas.
That's true. Another good thing stacked for me. No, I was just saying I purposely didn't do my workout in the morning because I like to, practice in the afternoon when the races usually are. So, that's quite a big difference, but that's okay.
Don't take it to the bank. It's just, that's what we've heard.
Yeah. It'll be later. Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Well,
yeah.
I'm cool with
cheering you on.
Cool. Thank you. And if I get 6, I'm coming for you, man.
That bad mojo.
Yeah.
Prove him wrong, Alyssa. Stand on that podium.
That's what I'm all about.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Alyssa.
All right. Thanks.